Yeah, I think the only walk-offs I've walk-off wins I've ever been a part of were the Buffalo game in 23 and today, and it's a great it's a great feeling. It's an emotional game. What I said to the guys today, and I'm sure you guys will ask this question, it's an emotional game. Um, you can tell by our faces after the game how emotional it can be, but we have to keep our emotions in check. We know the league is and rightfully so is cracking down on some of the taunting and the shit talking and that's what they want, and I respect that. We have to do a better job because we had 3 personal fouls today, so we have to do a better job of keeping our emotions in check. It's awesome, it's emotional to win away like that, but we have to the same mental toughness that we had in this football game to be able to have everything, not coaching worth a crap or not playing worth a crap early on in the game to come back and be able to win. That same emotion that you have, that mental toughness, play in, play out, we have to be able to have in moments like that as well. And that we can look at the blame on that is only on me, and I know I'm relentless. I'll do everything I can do to get it fixed because we got to fix that because that will cost you. It could have cost us today, and so again, we have a good framework of our mental toughness, but we have to have that same mental toughness, when the emotions are high in the football game.
Devontae cited tempo as the reason why the offense went from not being effective in the first half to being very effective later. Why was that effective?
Tempo is something that is a weapon for us. Sometimes with tempo, it's hard to go tempo when field position wasn't great today, and again, when it looks like that on the field, the look to nobody other than me. We didn't do a great job. I could have done a better job of adjusting faster on our kickoff return. And they got a weapon there with their kickoff coverage, and Sean knows that, and he does it. I've not been shy about me thinking Sean's one of the best coaches in the NFL, and they did a really good job on their kickoff. And so tempo sometimes is when you're backed up, when you're not being successful on first down, it's hard to get to on second down at times. I'm not saying you can't do it. We did it a couple times in the second half, but we've operated well out of tempo in the past. We've been pretty good on our 2-minute drives, which is obviously out of tempo, and that's something that's a tool there for you every game, but especially when you're struggling. I thought Kevin did a good job of getting to that, and we did a good job as an offense getting to that and calling it from there. Obviously, the first half and really the first 2 possessions of the second half, offensively and defensively, it couldn't have went much worse. Now, we did a great job on defense, holding them to 3 points and keeping the game manageable, where if we just kept fighting and kept clawing, that we'd have a chance, and got some big stops there in the second half. But that was a weapon for us that we've operated well out of, and it worked well today in the second half.
From a coach's perspective, what do you think will stick with you more? The first half, I'm sure you'll think there's some things you got to clean up, or that second half where you come back?
Yeah, I'll always remember this win. You're kind of similar to what you asked me about the Super Bowl. You'll always remember the good times there. I don't remember who asked me that, but you'll remember those good times there, and it'll be a good moment to remember that. I still remember the Buffalo game from 23, but we got a lot to clean up. And tomorrow, today we'll celebrate. Tomorrow, will be a normal Monday, right? It will be a normal Monday, and we'll get in there. We'll tell the truth to each other. And all in attempts to get better, because we have to get better. We know that, and there's a process to it. And so both, those downtime, hard times, when you're in hard times, tend to teach you even more than when you're in successful times. And so it was sure as heck hard in the first half. They came out ready to play. I know we came out ready to play. It just didn't, it didn't work what we were doing. And but I'm so proud of the guys that the fight that they have. We're on the ground and you can get counted out in those moments, like in boxing, but if you get up and keep fighting and keep swinging, in this game, you always got a chance. And I urge them in the locker room just to remember that, because you're going to go through hard times in life. You're going to go through hard times in football. And I just urge them to remember that when we're in another hard time. I urge them to remember that when they're in a hard time in their life, that you just keep getting up. And we got relentless guys in there, and we have relentless players. We have relentless coaches that just kept getting up. And when I think a lot of teams would have stayed down. And, part of that is the success that we have. Big part of that is the guys that Howie brings in here and the culture that we have that we talk an awful lot about mental toughness and relentless effort, and there's something dangerous about a team that just doesn't stop coming after you regardless of the circumstances. So, we got the win today on that, but I was proud of the guys that they just kept fighting. I'd have been proud of them if, they made that last field goal as well, that they just kept fighting. Obviously, this is a better feeling, but we got a lot to clean up.
Your involvement with AJ in there, what was behind that, and then what changed for him in the second half?
Yeah, I think one thing is that you don't have to live your life and as a team, as a football team, the way people think you should respond. I watched A.J. Brown handle all your questions as a great teammate and with grace. Obviously, he wants the football. Obviously, he needs to get the football. Obviously, to do the things that we want to do, he's got to have the season that he's had the last couple years, the last 3 years when he's been second team All-Pro and went over 1,000 yards every time. That's the nature of the position. My nephew, I'm not going to get into that, but he had 2 touchdowns his first game catching, and then he hasn't had many catches since. And it's like, of course every receiver wants the football. Of course every receiver wants to get the football. I mean, and so it's just a great example of like everybody wants immediate results, and we want immediate results, but there's a process to it. Like, we don't have to live to what anybody else thinks except for what our standard is. And I always respect your guys' questions, but, obviously he got asked a lot of questions this week where I've seen a lot of guys go a different way in that, and he handled every one of them that I saw with just so much grace, with so much maturity. And I know what someone's going to say, like, well, did he? And I'm like, yeah, he did. He said the right thing. Well, I know he wants the football, but he said the right things the entire week, and that's big for a team. Like, I'm just really proud of how he's handled, a slow start as far as stat wise, but he's doing the right things with the ball without in his hands to help us find ways to win football games. And today we needed it with the ball in his hands, and so I just really think he handled it the way we want to handle things as a football team, where it's not about individuals. Like, it's all over the place, right? Well, you're not getting yours. Well, we're a team. We find ways to win. Well, aren't you frustrated? Yeah. Obviously, he wants the ball, but going back to work every single day, knowing that it's going to happen, right? And that's what a great example to kids all over the place, and as our football team, that just keep doing the things, keep going through the process, and good things will happen. And obviously that's not the case for everyone. We have really good players. We have really good coaches. And, our job is, again, a ton to clean up. But I just think that was a great example of you don't have to conform to what anyone else thinks, what anyone else asks or questions. just he's a great teammate through it all, and we know how important part of offense he is.
How much was?
He just did express a desire to have a less conservative type of offense. Do you agree with that assessment?
Again, I think we did what we needed to do to win the game. We learned a little bit about ourselves today and what we need to be able to do. Every game and every game plan finds different things that you have to do. Most important thing is you do everything you can do to win each and every football game and get better. That's not, and when I say that, I don't want it to be like it's everyone get better. It's our coaches, it's our players, it's everybody. I didn't do a good enough job today. We found a way to win, but we all have to find ways to get better, to put points on the board, to make sure stall outs don't happen. This is football, though. There are ups, there are downs. And you just got to find ways to keep moving forward.
It seemed like on the broadcast, Jalen seemed very vocal. There was a lot of communication going on. How impressive was the collaboration with Jalen, Kevin Patullo, yourself, collaborating, communicating about finding the stuff that's working and getting to what's working?
Yeah, obviously, in those scenarios, I'm not going to take any credit for that. Jalen, Kevin, and the offensive staff did a great job of finding things that worked. And got us out of the rut that we were in. Any communication with the quarterback is going to be critical. He's the one who's going to give you confidence to, call the things that you need to call. Good question for Kevin, because obviously I'm doing the things there. I can't take any credit in that. Those guys did a great job of adjusting and finding the right things to do in that scenario.
How much does urgency, we're talking about the passing game and AJ wanting this football, how much does urgency, and you never want to fall behind, but the personality of a game, can it help that click in?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Obviously, this will give us confidence moving forward. We weren't able to run the ball like we want to be able to run the ball today, and that's going to happen sometimes, and we're going to need our pass game to do what it did today. And other times it's going to be the opposite way. Like I said, there are circumstances that happen. Like, again, I hear what AJ said with the conservative part of that, but there are some circumstances that happened in the first half where our field position wasn't great. Now, we didn't get anything, so whatever we did didn't work, right? Because we punted it back, the defense would stop them, and then we would, they'd get 3 points. But there are circumstances that dictate things, which happened today a little bit at times. We know what we're capable of. So, sometimes it is in the sense, too, that you're the offense and you got to dictate to the defense of what they need to do and not let them dictate to you what you need to do. I think that's a good example for us today of that in some dire situations, that good reminders for us.
How much did Lane going out impact what you wanted to do, and how much did Fred coming in allow you to maybe go where you wanted to go?
Lane Johnson is, in my opinion, no question about in my mind that he's the best player I've ever been around. He's one of the best players in the NFL, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to see that, as an offensive lineman, it doesn't show itself. But Lane gives us so much ability to do different things because of who he is as a football player. Like I said, he's one of the best players I've ever seen. Obviously, we have a lot of great players on this team, and they're all up there. But Lane is special. We got a lot of special guys. AJ special, Jalen special, Saquon special, Devontae special, Zach Bond special, Jalen Carter special, Jordan Davis is special, right? But I do think that, man, what a great trade by Howie, huh? Like, to get Fred here, and I just know that Howie is relentless in what he does, of always helping this football team get better. He saw a need for us, what we needed with Fred there, and went out and did the things he needed to do to get him. I'm so appreciative of Howie and having a partner in this thing that I feel like I'm relentless. I know he's relentless, and just having a guy that you trust so much there. And Fred did a great job, just like Fred did last year in certain situations, to come in and play meaningful football. It took a couple of series to go there. We had played some things with right, left side as far as that goes with where they've been training, but offensive staff stout. Kevin did a good job of saying, hey, Matt Pryor is very important to this football team and the things that he does. Fred maybe give us a better chance right now, and making that change. That's hard to do sometimes, and I credit those guys a lot for that change.
You got game-changing plays. You got game-changing plays from both Jordan Davis.
Did you get one?
It's okay.
I'll get two more.
You got game-changing plays from both Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in this game. I guess, what are some of the things behind the scenes that you've seen from those guys to make those plays possible?
They first of all, obviously they're great football players who've worked really hard to be great football players. Jordan, has just, I know you guys have talked a little bit, and because you've asked me about this, has worked so hard to get himself in great shape to be able to play the amount of snaps he played, and then have all that last to get a block kick and to scoop and score and to get in the end zone. Pretty remarkable. Clint Hurt does a great job. Clint Hurt's a great football coach. And he does a good job of helping those, and that's our job as football coaches. Howie's job is to bring the best talent in here and give us the guys that we need. And our job as coaches is to take that talent and try to take them to another level that they may not have been able to reach itself. That's your job as a football coach. So they've done so much. Let's talk about Jordan here, like the shape that he's in and how he is. I've seen him walk around with his shirt off a lot more now, which he should. That's good. And he just worked his butt off. And you saw that in training camp that something like this would happen. And he's played good football through the first 3 weeks.
He scooped that. Were you yelling at him to go down, or were you okay with him rumbling back?
Yeah, obviously in that scenario, you want him to go down. I don't know if you all recall that we had a 2021. There was a minute plus left. In 2021, we had a ball that we scooped and scored that is supposed to be a no mas there and go down after you get it because you win the game. And then the Jets came back in the preseason, tied up the game on a Hail Mary, and then they got the 2-point conversion. We ended up tying that game. So, yeah, you're supposed to go down in that area. When there's no time on the clock and there's nobody out in front of you, I'm always okay with something like that. I'd have been just as excited had he went down there. When he scored, I guess I will say that I was a little more excited, but it'll be on the tape to say, hey, probably go down in this scenario, but he'll probably get play of the game for that play.
Just really quickly, getting back to AJ, when he caught that 8-yard pass, I mean, it was a short pass and everything. How much did that get him going? How much did that get you guys going offensively? Because that led to that 38-yard.
Yeah, it was. Again, we were behind the sticks a lot in the first half, so to be able to get a completion and then be able to go on the ball in that scenario, that was important. I know that's good insight by you, Martin, to see that, because that kind of got us going, because you're able to get on the ball. When you have an incomplete pass maybe and you think you're going tempo and then it's incomplete pass, you can still go on the ball. It's just, it's a little bit different in that scenario. So that was big. That was important because that's, that started off our ability to be able to come back. And again, we have so much to clean up. We very easily could be on the other side of this today. I think the most important thing to leave you guys with is that we got a lot to clean up. We got a lot of things that we need to do better. There are progressions to this thing. We found a way to win. We very easily could have been on the other side of this. We know that, and our job is to keep getting better, find ways to win, keep getting better. So we're playing our best football by the end of the year. Right now, we're not playing our best football. We know that, and but that's what that's what the process is for. And I know our guys respect the process. I know our guys are hungry. I know our guys know that we're going to get people's best shots. Which will only make us better. That's a really good football team with really good players. Can't tell you, all the way around, they've done a great job building that football team, and they got phenomenal football coaches. they had us on the ropes, and our guys found a way to keep getting up and found a way.
We executed, and I think we played a good brand of football.
I think it was not being as conservative.
What's conservative?
AJ had mentioned that he felt like the offense could be a little more open.
They opened up in the second half.
What was the process like with adjustments in this game? How did that go down?
It was a matter of just figuring it out. I think, let me just set the pace here. When you look at a game like that, and you're able to find a way to win, we're gonna, point the fingers and point our attention to what's going on the offensive side of the ball. But we won the game. We were gritty in the game. We stayed together as a team. We did not quit. Nobody gave up. And in competitive sports, that's what it's about. And I'm very proud of that. I'm not proud of how we started the game. I'm not proud of the flow in which we played, the execution and the focus that we had earlier in the game. But I am proud of everybody not giving up and everybody being determined to find a way to win the game. And there wasn't a doubt in my mind that someone was going to make a play on that field goal, especially looking at those two Georgia guys lined up next to each other. And, win, lose, or draw, we were going to look back and be very critical of ourselves, and that's what we would be. And we're very eager to grow, as always, but there's a lot to learn from, sometimes, and there's a lot to learn from. And I say you either win or you learn, right? But when you win and you feel like you got a lot to learn, you need to come on with the come on.
Did it help the offense to go up tempo a little bit, go no huddle, especially after your first possession when you had to turn over?
I think it's important as offense in general to make it about what you do as an offense and not necessarily the opponent. There are a lot of great defenses, a lot of exotic looks you may get. There may be someone who chooses to attack us in a certain way, and it's about having the built-in things to respond to those things when they come. Playing within the system, playing within your roles, playing within what you're coached to do, and making sure that we're coached to execute it in a advantageous and high leverage way. But also just playing within ourselves. And I think in the second half, when pressure was as high as it was, we kind of just let it loose and went out there and played. And that's the brand of football we played along the years for a long time. So I don't necessarily want to make it harder than what it is. We just got to go out there and execute and play the style of football that we know we can play. And the beautiful part about it is we've been able to play and win in multiple ways, right? We've been able to play defensive games, play well on defense, and protect the ball and win games. We've been able to be very efficient and potent and have a lot of fireworks on offense over time and find ways to win games. We've been able to come back from very, very ugly situations. And it's a dangerous thing. And Coach Sirianni, I'll say, he talks about it's a dangerous thing when a group never gives up. And this group never gave up. And that's what I'm very proud of. And I think a win like this is encouraging, but it also lights a fire under everybody to strive for the level of execution that we want. When we talk about playing for a standard, the standard isn't to produce or to have numbers or certain statistics, just to execute whatever we're asked to do. And I don't think we did that in the first half. I think we kind of changed our approach in the second half, and that definitely helped us weather throughout the game and make plays the way we did. But it's about execution, in this game. And the way I learned football from Coach Saban, it's about playing to a standard. We play to win. We also play to a standard. And so we can't lose sight of what that is, given all the things that we've been able to do over time.
Jalen, it seemed like on the broadcast you were very vocal with not only your teammates but defensively firing them up. How important was the collaboration with Kevin Patullo arriving together on what works best in the second half?
Well, it was a complete team effort, and I had the reflection of whatever it takes. Can if it meant getting out of character, given the situation and just trying to do it, because it's the only thing that we ever cared about out there. Go out there and find a way to win the game. And so there's a lot of passion on that field, a lot to learn from on the field, and I think it's always great to be able to navigate a way to find a win. And every week is completely different. We got a great challenge coming up this week, but this is very revealing about our team, very revealing. A lot to learn from, obviously, but to be able to make plays when you need them the most, there's no such thing as luck. You make your own luck.
You face long fields consistently on your possessions. How did you adjust in how you opened each drive and handle that field position?
We just got to go out there and play. In the league, there is no perfect play, so that's not something that we can chase. We just got to go out there and play. Go out there and play, trust the rules of which we have, make sure we have the right rules in place, and just go out there and play ball.
Today was very revealing about this team. You've been with most of this group for a while now. When you have days like this, what do you learn about this group and your teammates?
It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting because, you can look back on the game and say, what play will it be? Will this come back and bite us? You can think of all of these things and try and rationalize what happened or why something happened. Ultimately, when you stay in the moment and you play each play as its own, and just go out there and give it your all, show it when the moment needs you to. Man, ain't another group of guys that I want to play with when it comes to that, because there's never a doubt, there's never a quit, and there's always that sense of fight to try and figure it out. And so, we've been talking about taking pride in winning. We take pride in this game, as ugly as it was, and as beautiful as it ended. That's the agony and ecstasy of the game of football. And we learn from it all. But always great to learn after a win.
How did you personally kind of keep it?
Say that again?
How did you personally kind of keep it together? When everything, especially after that first series in the third quarter, you guys are down by 19 points. How did you personally kind of keep it together?
I truly felt it was just a matter of time. We had to really watch the film to be able to assess that. But the confidence I have when we play a type of, football we play, you just got to, go out there and just let it loose and play our game. And then it takes a collective unit to do that.
On the touchdown drive, on the final touchdown drive, there were 2 3rd-and-10 conversions to AJ, tough catches there, and then the touchdown pass to Devontae on 4th down. What was behind those plays, and was there a concerted effort to get the ball to your top guys in those spots?
I really have to watch the film. I know there were a lot of conversations between KP and I in those conversations to try and, get to the best look. But nobody cares how it gets done. It's just a matter of getting it done. And you guys care about how it gets done. I don't. But, man, just going out there and finding a way to win, man. AJ, he made some big-time plays. He made some big-time catches. And Smitty made some big-time catches. Fred showed up and showed out when his number was called on. JD on the other side, yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful game, and I think you know, I just take a lot of pride in finding ways to win because that's why you play the game. That's why you play the game, and I also take a lot of pride in playing to a standard too. So once we, kind of look ourselves in the mirror as a team and say this is what we need to be better at. This is how we can approach things differently. This is room for us to grow and aggressively attack those things. There's nothing casual about what's going to happen moving forward. It is, there is a very, very, very assertive effort being made to play to the standard, more often. Ultimately, it's about winning ball games, and I'll never lose sight of that. I think this team will never lose sight of that, but it's a great collective team effort, showing up in those crucial moments, the execution by both sides, way to hang in there, and, just a great team effort. So you just want to be great at controlling the things we can and focusing on finding ways to win in the end.